So it's almost becoming a tradition. The chief here is live again in studio with
Here
us.
I am.
Here he
Live
is.
and kicking.
Live and kicking. So did you have a nice holiday?
I did. How about yourself?
I did absolutely nothing.
Well,
And it
that's
was
good.
wonderful.
Sometimes it's good to do nothing.
It really is, and it seems like it was a pretty quiet holiday for police too. Not a whole lot of nefarious things.
No, it was. People behaved themselves. Everybody was safe, so it was a good holiday all the way around.
Yeah, no crazy stuff at the mall at midnight, rushing for TVs or
Nothing
anything.
crazy. Nothing
Excellent.
crazy. Everybody behaved themselves and did a good job.
Yeah. So the winter and the holidays kind of bring to the forefront homelessness here in the town of Barnstable, Cape-wide as well. There's a number of events. The NOAA Telethon, Shelter-thon is coming up. Homeless for the Holidays, where the fire departments get together and raise money. From a police standpoint, what does this really mean to the town of Barnstable? There's I guess a larger portion of people here homeless in Barnstable?
Well, you're right. There is a good portion because realistically, a lot of the services that they need are here in town. You have the hospital, you have healthcare, mental health, and all these other facilities and stuff that they come here to get. So they may be transitioning in and out of here, moving in and out of town. But we do seem to have quite a few that our community impact unit works with and keeps tabs on, and helps to identify and find out what's going on in their lives. But you also have people that unfortunately around this time of year it seems like it increases. Because you get people who are in seasonal work are no longer working. People who, could afford a rental or can't anymore now because, quite honestly, there's a housing issue on Cape, and when you only have a limited amount of resources, even people you would think, that even people that have jobs can end up homeless because they just don't have anywhere to actually live because we don't have a pool of affordable housing for them to move into. So there are a lot of different people that could end up technically homeless by not having a place to put their head down at night. So this time of year it gets concerning because it gets colder. So we have our people out there, and something we want to keep an eye on because the last thing you want to have to do is respond that someone passed away in the woods or something. So you are trying to identify where it is people are congregating, go there, visit them during the day, trying to get them to some alternative shelter rings. When the weather gets really cold, if there's emergency shelters that have opened up, get them into those. People we can bring into the station, we bring into the station. If they've been drinking or whatever, we can place them in a protective custody, get them off the street. We try and work with NOAA. We try and work with Catholic Social Services to identify people that can get off the street and get into a temporary shelter situation. We do work with that because the last thing we want to do is, turn a holiday into a tragedy.
Right. The community impact unit, I want to come back to them because we see them a lot. We're here at Town Hall. Obviously, we have some homeless population that frequents this area, and the community impact unit. Can you describe really what they do?
Well, it's really in a nutshell, all the police officers, can go out there and respond to a call for service, whether it involves a homeless person or not, and deal with it. But the community impact unit's focus and their training really is to go beyond just that initial call. Initial police officer comes out and takes your accident report or takes your burglary report or steers you towards some other services. And they kind of do the same thing with the homeless population. They identify who they are. They speak with them on a frequent basis. They go to the coffee houses. They go to these different places to learn more about these people, to get closer to them, and really to go beyond that initial call, to try and steer them towards the services that are going to get them off the street. Do they need a place to live? Do they need treatment, for alcohol or substance abuse? Do they need mental health help? And try and identify what it is with that particular person and get them towards those services because honestly, there's just some people out there that are resistant to getting it. But with anything else, if you're talking to them on a daily basis, if you're providing them with the information and even taking them, if it comes down to it, physically taking them and driving them somewhere to get the help they need, that's what they're there for.
Okay. And they also go into the camps. So,
Yes,
I think all of us really do understand that there are camps around here, but you don't wait until cold weather sets in to get them out. That happens in the fall, early fall?
Well, it's really an ongoing process, because, you identify where a camp is, then they move it. You try and get out there because beyond having people living in the woods and whatnot, it sounds nostalgic that I live in a camp, but it's not really. It's unsanitary. There's health problems. People get sick. People get hurt. People get injured. Whatever needles, whatever can be out there. So we try and identify where those places are. We try to get them cleaned up, and if there's help that those people need, direct them towards those services that they need to get them out of break that cycle of living in the woods. So that goes on a year-round basis. But especially now, this time of year, you're trying to identify where they are so you can visit them when the weather gets colder and get these people out of those situations and in somewhere where it'll be warm.
Right. And a lot of this really does stem, a lot of the homelessness sometimes and substance abuse issues stems from mental illness. Are these officers specially trained in some mental health care?
The officers assigned to the Community Impact Unit have had mental health training. They've had community crisis intervention training, and some of them are actually trained to teach that class. So they train other officers on this. So a good majority of the police officers have actually had some CCIT training to help deal with these people in mental health crisis, because you're right, there's no one real thing that causes homelessness. Like I said, some of it can be economic. Somebody loses their job or can't afford rent. You know, they may have a job, but they just can't afford the rent. Then you have people out there that have a substance abuse problem, or like alcohol or drugs, or they have a mental health problem, or because they have a mental health problem, they self-medicate with drugs or alcohol. So there are a lot of things that feed into it, and it's something you're not really going to identify just maybe on the first time you run across somebody. But if you develop those relationships and be able to identify these people and what the root problems are and try and get to it and move them off to where they need to be.
Right. And Barnstable Police actually has 2 officers dedicated to this that make the rounds. We see them every day.
We do. We have 3. We got Sergeant Ellis,
Yep.
we have Officer Danielle St. Peter, and we have Officer Brian Jenkins. So those are the 3 of them are out there on a daily basis dealing with these things, going to different meetings with these different groups, going to the coffee houses, checking the greens, going to these camps, and whatever it takes to, you can't serve a population if you don't go out and meet with the population, so that's their purpose.
Right. And just to finish up here, if residents do come across homeless in their neighborhoods, or they see them on the green, what is their response? Do they call the police? Do they ignore it? I mean, what's the best response of citizens to help?
If there is a problem that's going on, or if they think there's something wrong going on, by all means, give the police department a call, let us know. And if we can come out there, and if there is something going on that we can address, we'll address it. If not, we can get information and we can refer it to the Community Impact Unit, or they might refer it to caseworkers from these different organizations like Duffy and Vinfin and whatever not that are out there, to have them working on it as well. So, but it does help any time. So we're a public service organization, but it really depends on the public to give us the information. We may not know people are doing things or where they're hanging out, and we're trying to find them as well. So if you let us know, and we can come out and we can check on it. But just because someone's sitting on a park bench doesn't necessarily mean they're doing anything wrong.
Right, exactly. Thanks so much, Chief.
Hey, have a great day.
You too.